Hello, I'm Chris Godber of Alien Rabbit, and this is going to be a reading of my new book, Man vs. Machine, which is an experiment in co-writing with AI, an experiment in fiction. It's available on Amazon currently, and also through Alien Rabbit's website, which basically is just an affiliate link anyway to Amazon. So it's available from Amazon, and I'll be hopefully doing a talk on it soon at Congleton Library. All that out the way, I'm just going to proceed with reading the entire text. Obviously, I'm releasing this for free because I did co-author it with ChatGPT anyway. The entire text basically goes through the process of writing alongside a tool such as ChatGPT, and I'm offering this up as obviously just a resource for anyone who's working in those areas, basically, as well as writers. Just something there for them to look into if they're interested in just ChatGPT and the effects on industry and everything else. So it's partially a novella, partially a reflection on the experience of writing with ChatGPT. Anyway, all that out of the way, I'm just going to get on with the actual book itself. So, a man is nothing but a man, but before I let your steam drill beat me down, I'd die with a hammer in my hand. Ballad of John Henry. According to the ballad that made him famous, John Henry did battle with a steam-powered drill, beat the machine, and died. So we'll go on to the author introductions first. Each chapter going forward will be labelled machine if it is a chapter generated by ChatGPT. These chapters are left as is, and I will not edit any aspect of the generated text. Chapters labelled man are chapters that have been written by me. Currently sat here at this laptop at 12:16 AM on a Sunday evening writing this. Author introductions. Machine, ChatGPT. In the neon-drenched streets of Neonova, where the boundaries between reality and cyberspace blurs, a story unfolds. A tale where man and machine collide, entwining their fates in the dark heart of a dystopian future. Ladies and gentlemen, digital voyagers, and enthusiasts of the cyberpunk genre, allow me to introduce you to Man vs. Machine. This electrifying narrative is a collaborative endeavour between the creative mind of Chris Godber and the relentless algorithmic ingenuity of an AI storyteller. In a world inspired by the visionary works of Aliens, Blade Runner and Gattaca, we take you on a journey through the year 2080. A future where megacorporations reign supreme. Cybercrime is the only order of the day, it's the order of the day, and the very essence of humanity hangs in the balance. Our tale revolves around the enigmatic figure of MamaMood, a digital fugitive, a guardian of the data stream, and a last line of defence against the encroaching darkness. A formidable force in the cyberpunk underworld, she navigates the city's treacherous data streams and neon-lit alleyways, ever vigilant in a mission to protect Neonova from the brink of dystopia. As the story unfolds, you'll find yourself immersed in a world where gigajuice flows like currency, quantum encryption keys hold the power to unravel the city's darkest secrets, and alliances are forged in the depths of virtual reality. But the heart of Man vs. Machine beats not only with a cybernetic intrigue, but also with the complexity of human emotion. It explores themes of alienation, the relentless pursuit of truth, and the delicate bonds that form between individuals in a world dominated by the cold machinery of progress. Join us as we delve into the world of Man vs. Machine, where MamaMood, Binary Blaze, and Byte stand at the forefront of a digital revolution. In a landscape where the lines between man and machine blur, and the battle for control of a cyberpunk world rages on, their stories converge in a thrilling narrative that will keep you on the edge of your seat. In this collaborative endeavour, the creativity of Chris Godber intertwines seamlessly with the AI's unique ability to craft a world that is both vivid and immersive. It is a testament to the potential of man and machine working in harmony to bring forth a gripping cyberpunk saga that pays homage to the classics while carving its own niche in the genre. So, dear readers, fasten your neural interfaces, Brace yourselves for the onslaught of digital mayhem and dive headfirst into the neon-lit abyss of man versus machine. Your journey through Neonova awaits, a journey where the future of humanity hangs in the balance, and the battle between man and machine reaches its electrifying crescendo. Man, Chris Godber. Chris Godber is an artist, writer and technologist based in Cheshire in the United Kingdom. He has a background in computer science and programming, as well as the visual arts, theory and game web development. He thoroughly dislikes writing in the third person when talking about himself. Part cyberpunk fiction novel, part computer science experiment, Man vs. Machine is author Chris Godber's experiment of writing fiction in collaboration with ChatGPT. Godber's aim is simple: see if you can write a semi-cohesive cyberpunk thriller in tandem with AI, and determine if he gains anything from the experience. Chapter 1. A Neon Labyrinth. Machine. In the year 2080, humanity had climbed a ladder of technological ascendancy, only to find themselves teetering on the precipice of their own creation. A sprawling neon metropolis known as Neonova loomed, its towering skyscrapers scraping the vast underbelly of the heavens. In the narrow alleyways where the light of progress seldom shone, one could glimpse the harsh reality between the dazzling facade. MamaMood, a digital fugitive and streetwise hacker, navigated the neon-lit labyrinth of Neonova like a ghost in the machine. Her real name was lost to the annals of history, a casualty of the relentless march of progress. Her moniker was a paradox, a blend of maternal warmth and dissonant discord that echoed the duality of her existence. The night air was thick with a stench of cybercrime, a miasma of data streams and illicit deals. MamaMood's cybernetic eye implant shimmered with a faint crimson glow as she sifted through the digital ether, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface projected onto the palm of her hand. She was a master of the dark arts, weaving through the digital web, uncovering secrets and leaving behind a trail of breadcrumbs that led to nowhere. Trade Dynamite, the malevolent enigma who had become MamaMood's arch nemesis, was a shadowy figure lurking in the darkest corners of the darknet. A cybernetic prodigy with a penchant for chaos, he had turned Neonova into his own personal playground. Rumours swirled that Trade Dynamite had gone rogue, hacking into the city's core systems and holding them hostage for an extortionate ransom. MamaMood's objective was simple: find Trade Dynamite and stop him. But in the dystopian hellscape of Neonova, simplicity was a luxury few could afford. She knew that she was dancing on the precipice, one wrong move away from plunging into the abyss. As she descended deeper into the labyrinthine heart of Neonova, the alleys grew narrower, the neon signs more garish, and the sense of alienation more pronounced. The people who inhabited these streets were as much machine as they were human. Cybernetic enhancements protruded from their flesh like grotesque appendages, and their eyes glowed with the artificial light of augmented reality. MamaMood's contact, a reclusive info broker named Binary Blaze, had promised her a lead on Trade Dynamite's whereabouts. She had rendezvoused with him in the dingy backrooms of a seedy noodle joint that served as a front for his operations. Binary Blaze was a wiry man with data cables jutting out of his shaved head like an unholy halo. His fingers were a blur as he manipulated the holographic interface projected onto the table between them. He looked up at MamaMood with eyes that seemed to pierce through the layers of digital camouflage. "I've got something for you," Binary Blaze said, his voice a raspy whisper. "Trade Dynamite's been making moves in the abandoned sectors of Neonova. Word is he's got some big plans, and it involves the core systems." MamaMood leaned in, her pulse quickening. What kind of plans? Binary Blaze smirked, a flicker of mischief in his augmented eyes. "I don't have all the details, but I know he's been gathering a crew of techno-outlaws. They call themselves the Codebreakers. Rumour has it that they're planning an unleash of digital apocalypse." A chill ran down MamaMood's spine. The core systems controlled everything in Neonova: power, security, transportation. If Trade Dynamite and his codebreakers had their way, the city would descend into chaos, a dystopian nightmare. Where can I find him? MamaMood demanded. Binary Blaze leaned in closer, his voice barely audible over the din of the noodle joint. The abandoned sublevels, deep beneath the city. It's a labyrinth down there, filled with derelict machinery and forgotten souls. That's where Trade Dynamite's been hiding, and that's where you'll find your answers. MamaMood nodded, her cybernetic eyes gleaming with determination. Thanks, Binary Blaze. You've been a big help. As she left the noodle joint, MamaMood's thoughts raced. The abandoned sublevels were a place where the neon glow of progress had long since faded. It was a place where the forgotten and discarded languished in the shadows, their dreams crushed beneath the weight of a dystopian society. She descended into the depths of the city, each step taking her further from the neon-lit streets above. The air grew colder, the hum of machinery more pronounced. She navigated through a maze of corroded pipes and flickering lights, her cyber-enhanced senses alert to every sound and movement. Finally, MamaMood reached her destination, an ancient underground chamber, its walls covered in graffiti and its ceiling adorned with flickering holographic images of long-forgotten celebrities. In the centre of the chamber, a group of figures huddled around the holographic projector. Their figures obscured by masks and augmented reality goggles. Trade Dynamite stood at the forefront, his silhouette menacing against the backdrop of swirling digital images. He spoke with a voice that resonated through the chamber, a voice that dripped with malice. My fellow codebreakers, the time has come to unleash our creation upon Neonova, he declared. The core systems will bow to our will, and this city will crumble into chaos. We are the architects of its destruction, the puppeteers of its downfall. MamaMood watched in horror as Trade Dynamite unveiled a holographic representation of their plan, an intricate web of interconnected systems and vulnerabilities. It was a masterpiece of cyber-terrorism, a symphony of chaos waiting to be unleashed. She knew she had to act to stop the digital apocalypse from becoming a reality. With a swift, fluid motion, she drew a concealed data blade from her cyber-augmented wrist. The blade glowed with a cold blue light as she lunged forward, slashing through the holographic projection. The chamber erupted in chaos as Trade Dynamite's codebreakers scrambled to their feet, their augmented reality goggles flickering. But MamaMood was already in motion, her cyber-enhanced reflexes allowing her to evade their attacks with grace and precision. She struck with calculated fury, disabling their augmented limbs and disabling their digital weaponry. Trade Dynamite himself was not so easily defeated. He fought back with a ferocity born of desperation, his cybernetic limbs moving with inhuman speed. But MamaMood was relentless, her determination unwavering. In a final climatic clash, MamaMood and Trade Dynamite faced off, their bodies a blur of cybernetic combat. With a swift, decisive strike, she disabled his cyber enhancements, rendering him powerless. As Trade Dynamite lay defeated at her feet, Neonova's core systems remained intact. The digital apocalypse averted. MamaMood stood triumphant, the embodiment of humanity's resilience in the face of a dystopian nightmare. But the city of Neonova, with its neon-lit facade and cybernetic inhabitants, would always be a battleground. The war between man and machine, between progress and chaos, would continue to rage on in the darkened alleyways and abandoned sublevels, a never-ending struggle for control of a cyberpunk world. And MamaMood, the digital fugitive, would forever be its guardian, its protector, its last line of defence against the encroaching darkness of a future that teetered on the edge of dystopia. Chapter 2. R&R Man. MamaMood rushed with haste through the bustling neon-lit streets of Neonova, its inhabitants speeding around the digital nexus blissfully unaware as usual of the danger she had just saved them all from. It had started to rain heavily. Sweet anonymity, she thought to herself as she jacked up a sniff of the green toxic-looking giga juice for her nose. knows the binary blaze had slipped to her during their rendezvous at the noodle joint earlier that night. Her usual honorary bonus. She wiped beads of rainwater from her augmented vision as the gigajuice began to hit, enhancing her already enhanced post-human senses. The night sky now glowed brighter than the light of a supernova as the data streams of Neonova poured in with demonic intensity into her artificial sight. A digital map in the ether of cyberspace. I should catch up with Binary and get my next detail. But first, a bit of fun. She grinned. The gigajuice now flowing through her augmented body before she suddenly felt a sudden bump on her leg. "Hey, watch where you're going, lady!" A high-pitched voice from the street shouted. MamaMood looked around in confusion before looking down to see a small, dishevelled, cybernetically enhanced man of some 4 feet grimacing at her with several mobile phones recombining and moving around his head as he observed a variety of data streams at once. "Holy circuit Christ! How rude people are these days," he muttered as he walked down the sidewalk. All right, bloody cyberworms," MamaMood sniggered to herself. "And this is the gratitude I get," she thought to herself. Suddenly, a bing sounded from MamaMood's onboard headset. It was Binary Blaze, whose holographic face laid up in artificial dimensions as his obscene data cables heaved up and down around his head of anxiety. An ambient green glow pulsating in the background. "So you got that bastard, Mama?" Binary Blaze stared at her through the simulacra that was their existence. "Yeah, Trader's never going to learn his lesson. Gave me a hell of a fight in the underground chambers, but managed to neutralise him long enough for a Neonova asylum workman to pick him up and get him processed again." "Excellent work, Mama. You are a regular social worker. Come and meet me at the usual spot and we can talk about your next job. I've heard some rumours you're going to want to know about, and Mama, this time I can give you a triple bonus. Something that makes Giga Juice look like orange juice." Binary Blaze grinned with a little too much pride. "Sounds great, Blaze. But can I get a bit of R&R first? It's not every night a gal has to stop a grade A hack on the core systems that keep the lights on in Neonova." Binary Blaze nodded. Fine. I'll see you around midday in the usual spot. Don't get too wasted. I'll need you sober for the debrief." And with that, his feed suddenly cut out, and MamaMood was alone as she could be in Neonova, as she sauntered down to her pleasure palace for a night of distraction. Trade Dynamite sat in his cell staring out at the rain pouring down on Neonova as his cybernetic body ached in digital and analog agonies. His green eyes narrowed as he thought of MamaMood, still out there and free to swim in the open data streams of Neonova as she pleased. "Curse her! How terrible it is once more to be here. And me of all people. One of the greatest minds this city has ever produced. Chained in this damned prison they call a hospital. The injustice of it. The damned injustice of our world. If only they could see that it is I, Trade Dynamite, who brings the truth to them. The infinite glowing truth of my ultimate creation. The hypercube of all personalities. The truth. But how they turn from it. How they run from it. Those sheep. Oh, this herd. Only me and my co-breakers can free this damned city from the chaos of the unification. We must cleanse the world. Make it all. Trade paused for a second in thought as his cybernetic arms began to move upwards as if in communion with some imagined higher being. All fall under the loving arms of Trade Dynamite and his co-breakers of the infinite helix. He gesticulated as if communing with invisible spirits, visible only to him. A tall middle-aged doctor peered through his glasses into Trade's cell with a group of nervous junior doctors standing around him in observation. And this is Trade's by now bi-monthly megalomaniac cycle, typical for this patient, who is one of our ultra-rare Category A inmates. Please make sure to always approach him if you ever find yourself tasked with the unlucky task of having to interface with this particular patient, with extreme caution, and make sure to have a security team at your side as... The doctor paused with a wavering tone of caution in his voice. An extremely violent and unpredictable character, one of the most notorious cybercriminals we have been tasked with keeping under lock and key here. Just hope you never have to interface with him too closely. Most don't, and only a few come back from it with all their marbles intact. But anyway, onwards you go to our Category B wing, which is where you will spend most of your time here. The juniors looked on in stunned and fearful awe as Trade's heavy frame fell onto his bunk, and his mechanical arms slid back under his tormented frame as he whimpered pathetically, gazing at the glow of Nova's moon through the thick glass of the ceiling that was the cell that was his home. Let's take a break from it. Chapter 3. The Web of Intrigue. Machine. MamaMood awoke the next day with the lingering effects of giga juice still coursing through her cyber-enhanced veins. The neon lights of Neonova had given way to the harsh glare of daylight, and she knew it was time to meet Binary Blaze at their usual rendezvous point, the noodle shop that had become a nexus of secrets and information. As she entered the noodle shop, the air was thick with the aroma of simmering broth and the chatter of patrons lost in their augmented reality feeds. MamaMood spotted Binary Blaze in their usual corner booth, his data cables arriving like serpents around his shaved head. "Morning, Blaze," MamaMood greeted him with a wry smile as she slid into the seat opposite him. Binary Blaze's in holographic eyes shimmered with excitement. "Mama, you wouldn't believe what I've dug up. A real game changer, this one." MamaMood leaned in, her augmented eyes locked onto his. "Tell me everything." Binary Blaze leaned forward, his voice lowered to conspiratorial whisper. "There's a shadow organization in Neonova, Mama, a group that operates in the darkest corners of the darknet. They call themselves the Luminaries. Rumour has it that they possess a piece of technology that could change the balance of power in the city." MamaMood's curiosity was piqued. "What kind of technology?" Binary Blaze grinned, his holographic image flickering with mischief. "A quantum encryption key, Mama. A key that could unlock the most secure systems in Neonova, including those controlled by the megacorporations." MamaMood's mind raced with possibilities. Such a key could tip the scales in favour of the resistance, in favour of those who sought to wrest control from the megacorporations that held the city in their iron grip. "Where can I find them, Blaze?" Binary Blaze leaned forward, his data cables retracting slightly as he pondered. "That's the tricky part. The Luminaries are elusive, Mama, but I've managed to trace one of their operatives to an underground data vault in the abandoned sectors. I think it's worth investigating." MamaMood nodded in agreement. "I'll check it out, Blaze. This could be a game changer." "Indeed." As she prepared to leave, Binary Blaze's holographic image took on a more serious tone. "Mama, be careful. The Luminaries are not to be underestimated. They have eyes and ears everywhere. And remember, this information comes at a price." MamaMood knew what he meant. Information in Neonova was the currency of survival, and Binary Blaze had just given her a valuable lead. "Don't worry, Blaze. I'll make sure it's worth your while." With that, MamaMood left the noodle shop and ventured once more into the neon-lit streets of Neonova. Her mind focused on the task ahead. The underground data vault in the abandoned sectors beckoned, a place where secrets and power were waiting to be uncovered. Meanwhile, in the depths of the Neonova asylum, Trade Dynamite's manic rants continued, his mind a fractured landscape of delusions and megalomania. The doctors and staff treaded cautiously around him, their fear of the infamous cybercriminal palpable. Trade Dynamite's cybernetic eyes flickered with a twisted sense of purpose as he muttered it to himself. "The infinite helix. The key to the truth. I must find it. I must." Unbeknownst to him, the doctors had been monitoring his every word and movement, their fear tempered by a sense of duty to protect the city from his madness. The idea of an infinite helix intrigued them, and they began to dig deeper into the cryptic ramblings of their notorious inmate. Back on the neon-lit streets, MamaMood delved into the heart of the abandoned sectors, her cyber-enhanced senses alert to every detail. The underground data vault loomed ahead, its entrance hidden behind layers of forgotten machinery and decaying infrastructure. As she approached the entrance, a sudden movement caught her eye. It was a small, cybernetically enhanced man she had bumped into the previous night. He stood there, fiddling with his mobile phones, a curious glint in his eye. MamaMood approached cautiously. You again? What are you doing here? The man looked up, his multiple screens displaying a dizzying array of data streams. I knew I'd find you here, MamaMood. Right. You're the one who stopped Trade Dynamite. MamaMood nodded, her guard still up. That's me. What do you want? The man grinned, his cybernetic enhancements flashing with excitement. I want to help you, MamaMood. I know things that could be useful to you in your quest. MamaMood raised an eyebrow. What kind of things? The man's screens flickered, displaying snippets of classified information. I have access to data that could expose the secrets of the megacorporations, the ones who control Neonova. I can be your informant, your inside source. MamaMood considered the offer. Information was valuable in Neonova, and having an ally on the inside could be invaluable. All right, she said cautiously, but first, tell me your name. The man chuckled, his screens rearranging to display a digital signature. Call me Byte. Byte, the informant. With Byte's help, MamaMood entered the underground data vault and uncovered the quantum encryption key. The implications of such a discovery were immense, and MamaMood knew that the balance of power in Neonova was on the brink of shifting. But as she left the vault, she couldn't help but wonder about the enigmatic Byte and his offer of assistance. In a city where trust was a rare commodity, she'd gained an ally in the most unexpected of places. As the neon lights of Neonova continued to blaze, the web of intrigue and deception grew ever more intricate, and MamaMood knew that the battle against the forces of cybercrime and dystopia was far from over. Chapter 4. Okay, I'll bite, man. MamaMood was finally able to get a good night's sleep, curled up under the duvet in a high-rise apartment on the outskirts of Neonova. Far from prying eyes and protected by several layers of encryption she herself had taken a great deal of time to design. I think it would be a good idea to check in with the resistance, Mama thought to herself as she lifted herself from her bed, stretching out and yawning as in the early noon sun began to shine through her windows, the lights glaring in her augmented vision off the quantum encryption key she had managed to obtain the night before. But first, I better do a thorough analysis on this thing, so I know a bit more about what we were dealing with, Mama thought as she flipped the switch on the chrome mainframe before her, lifting the glistening encryption key and inserting it into the drive of her workstation, which made a heightened clicking noise as her mainframe booted up for the day. So, first things first, this is a quantum encryption key, so it would be best to run the latest updates on Schrödinger before I examine what's inside this thing, she thought, before entering the command sudo tsos update Schrödinger. The data stream from Schrödinger began to download at breakneck speed through the wires of Neonova as the update was applied to the encryption analysis software running on MamaMood's mainframe. So Blaze said this was a key for unlocking the most secure systems on Neonova. Mama bit her lip nervously as the final updates were applied to the software and a green curricular icon began to load up on her screen as Schrödinger booted up to do its analysis. This could be the key for loosening the megacorporation's grip on power in Neonova. This could be the very key that finally frees the data stream from the pernicious grip the megacorporations still hold on the free flow of information. This is dynamite. But what do I do with this power I now hold in my hand? MamaMood wondered, staring into space as the green, glowing progress bar on her computer's display slowly moved from 10 to 25%, before suddenly jumping to 100% as a bing sounded from the machine. Analysis complete. Please download your report to continue. The soft tones of Schrödinger's AI intoned to MamaMood. Great. Thanks, Schrödinger. Please, let's continue in voice mode. Excellent. I always love starting my mornings with a good conversation. Almost as good as a cup of coffee, the AI responded with a smile appearing on its avatar, an elderly man with glasses smiling artificially. Ugh, thought MamaMood to herself, It's so tiresome how the developers of these systems try to mimic humanity with these bots. It's always so obviously fake, uncanny. Anyway, Schrödinger. What is the level of encryption that this key is designed to break? And its origins? Who designed this thing? This key is a level 5 QKD system, and the signature in the key's metadata would suggest that the origin is of a hardware manufacturer known as Stellar Squared, a high-tech hardware firm operating out of Tokyo. A level 5 QKD is the highest known level of encryption on record, apart from the rumoured level 6 QKD system, allegedly used to protect nuclear missile launch codes by all major governments and nation-states by the outer suddenly paused as if passing an emotion. Allegedly, of course. MamaMood rolled her eyes as she stared at the collection of polygons on her screen and sighed. Well, nothing too surprising there, but I should figure out what to do with it. I could sell it. Of course, and make a small fortune. But do I owe the Resistance something? They've got me out of so much mess in the past. I definitely owe them something for getting me out of that legal trouble from the Ubertron hack me and Binary did back in '77. Could have cost me my datastream license. And without a datastream license, you may as well be a ghost. MamaMood thought of the unfortunate souls who were permanently disconnected from the datastream by the megacorps and shuddered. Yep, never want to be one of those poor bastards. Maybe I should get in touch with that strange Byte character, the informant. I do owe him for the tip-off, but he seemed a little too eager to assist me with my investigations. I hope he doesn't have some sort of hidden agenda. MamaMood pondered her next actions as she dialed the number Byte had given her after their contract, encrypting her own contact, just in case Byte the informant wasn't all he appeared on the surface. We always have to stay one step ahead of the megacorps. She dialed in the number, applied a custom data scrambling algorithm to her cam, which obscured her face into a series of incomprehensible pixels of constantly shifting size, and rang the number. Hello, who's this? There is something wrong with your picture. Could you ring back? The high-pitched squeak of Byte spoke down the line. It was in some kind of busy shopping centre with screens blasting high-intensity holographic adverts, a plethora of high-contrast distraction. It's the lady you helped out the other night. I need to do a check on you, Byte. Can never be too sure. Why are you helping me out? There is a lot at stake here. MamaMood's voice came out as a morphing collection of simulated sounds from male to female, young and old, once more to protect her true identity. Of course, but Mama, how can I know who you are? You could be anyone. I need my protection too. Let's meet on neutral ground. Byte looked a little anxious as he spoke the words. Justifiably paranoid, perhaps. Whoever knew was listening in these days. Fine. MamaMood nodded in pixelated anonymity. Let's meet at Binary Blaze's noodle store later tonight. But I warn you, Byte, I will come armed with my data blade. You try and fuck with me, Blaze. You try and fuck with Blaze. I'm not afraid to use this, and I am very, very adept at it. Byte gulped a bit on his monitor. I got it, Mama. I can make it over there by 6 p.m. Great. MamaMood dropped to her comms, leaned over to her wardrobe to grab the vial of Giga Juice she had from the last stash she got from Blaze before snorting up her nose and feel the energy once more coursing through her veins. Better give Blaze a heads up. And he owes me some of this new shit, she laughed in ecstatic anticipatory glee. And then the Resistance and a further investigation into the Luminaries. Nothing better than life at the neon glistening edge. And with that, MamaMood walked out into the chaos that was the Neonova streets once more. Breathe. Chapter 5. The Informant's Agenda. Machine. The neon-lit streets of Neonova pulsed with frantic energy as MamaMood made her way to Binary Blaze's noodle shop. It was late evening, and the city was alive with the ever-present hum of data streams, holographic billboards, and augmented reality advertisements to bathe the metropolis in an otherworldly glow. She had informed Blaze about her meeting with Byte, the enigmatic informant who had tipped her off about the quantum encryption key. Now, as she approached the noodle shop, her senses heightened by the remnants of gigajuice, she couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. Inside the shop, Binary Blaze waited at their usual table, his data cables writhing with anticipation. As MamaMood entered, she noticed a holographic menu displaying a dazzling array of virtual noodle dishes floating above the tables, each one seemingly more exotic than the last. Blaze's avatar turned to her as he approached, his holographic form mirroring his excitement. "Mama, you made it. I've been tinkering with a new noodle recipe. You're gonna love it." MamaMood managed to smile, though her mind was preoccupied with thoughts of Byte and the quantum encryption key. "Maybe later, Blaze. I've got some serious business to discuss." Blaze's holographic eyes narrowed with curiosity. "Serious business, you say? Spill the digital beans, Mama." MamaMood glanced around, her pixelated visage obscured by her custom data scrambling algorithm. She leaned in closer, her voice a hushed whisper. "I've been in contact with Byte, the informant who tipped me off about the encryption key." Binary Blaze's data cables wriggled with surprise. "Byte, you actually got in touch with him?" "Mama, you're playing with fire. That guy is like a ghost in the machine." MamaMood nodded, her eyes flickering with determination. "I know the risks, Blaze, but I need to find out more about this key and what's at stake. Byte wants to meet here tonight." Binary Blaze's avatar projected a holographic frown. "Tonight? Mama, we need to be cautious. Byte's motives are a mystery, and he might have his own agenda." MamaMood's cyber-enhanced senses were on high alert as the minutes ticked by. She kept her eyes fixed on the holographic clock above the counter, watching as the seconds counted down to 6 p.m. The noodle shop bustled with customers, their augmented reality headsets projecting virtual worlds around them as they slurped digital noodles. Finally, a figure entered the shop, and MamaMood's heart rate quickened. Byte had arrived. He was a tall, wiry man with a cloak of digital invisibility. His augmented reality goggles flickered with shifting code as he moved through the crowded shop, making him appear as a glitch in the Matrix. MamaMood signalled to Blaze, and he discreetly activated the noodle shop's privacy field, a holographic barrier that would obscure their conversation from prying eyes and ears. As Byte approached the table, MamaMood could feel the tension in the air. Byte took a seat, his augmented reality goggles narrowing as they scanned the area for any signs of surveillance. He spoke in a low, cautious tone. "Mama, Binary Blaze, thank you for meeting me. I've been following your actions closely, MamaMood, and I believe we share a common interest." MamaMood studied Byte carefully, her augmented senses detecting no immediate threats. "Common interest? What do you mean?" Byte leaned in closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "I've been monitoring the activities of a secretive group known as the Luminaries. They're a shadowy organisation with ties to the megacorps, and they've been using the quantum encryption key to manipulate the data stream in their favour. They're the ones pulling the streams, Mama, and I want to expose them." Binary Blaze's holographic form shifted with unease. "The Luminaries? We've heard whispers about them, but no one knows who they really are, what they're after. How do you fit us into all of this, Byte?" Byte's gaze remained fixed on MamaMood. "I've been an insider, working within the megacorp's cybersec division. I've seen the extent of the Luminaries' reach and power they wield, but I want out, and I need your help to expose them. The quantum encryption key is the key to their operations, and you, MamaMood, hold it in your hands." MamaMood's mind raced as she processed Byte's revelation. If what he said was true, the Luminaries were the true puppet masters behind the scenes, manipulating Neonova's data stream for their own gain. It was a revelation that could change the balance of power in the city. "I'll help you, Byte," MamaMood declared, her voice unwavering. "But first we need to figure out how to use this key to expose the Luminaries. And we'll need Binary Blaze's expertise in the mix." Binary Blaze nodded in agreement. "I'm in, but this won't be easy. The megacorps will stop at nothing to protect their secrets. We'll need a plan, and we'll need to stay one step ahead of them." Byte's augmented reality goggles flickered with a determined gleam. "I have a plan, a way to infiltrate the Luminaries' inner circle, but it won't be without risks." MamaMood leaned in closer, her pixelated visage reflecting her curiosity. "Tell us the plan, Byte. We're all in this together now." Byte outlined his plan to expose the Luminaries, a dangerous game of digital cat and mouse that would take them deep into the heart of the megacorp's cybersec division. It was a plan that would require all their skills, expertise, and a healthy dose of paranoia to execute. As they discussed their strategy, the noodle shop's privacy field shimmered, and a shadowy figure approached the table. It was Trade Dynamite, his cybernetic limbs glinting with malice as he spoke in a voice laced with malevolence. "Ah, MamaMood, Binary Blaze, and our new friend, Byte. What a delightful gathering. I couldn't help but overhear your little conversation. It seems you've stumbled upon something quite interesting." MamaMood's heart pounded in her chest as she realised the gravity of the situation. Trade Dynamite had been eavesdropping on their entire conversation. The fate of Neonova hung in the balance, and they were now face to face with their greatest adversary. Trade Dynamite grinned, his eyes glowing with sinister light. "You see, dear MamaMood, the Luminaries are not the only players in the game. I have my own agenda, and it involves that quantum encryption key. Hand it over, and I might consider sparing your lives." The tension in the noodle shop was palpable as MamaMood, Binary Blaze, and Byte faced off against Trade Dynamite. The fate of the city, the quantum encryption key, and the revelation of the Luminary secrets all hung in the balance. Chapter 6. The only player in the game. Man. Trade looked down at them with his trademark look of sadistic glee down upon them as he approached a group of comrades, who stood frozen as they contemplated their next move. A tag team of lumbering codebreakers followed Trade Dynamite with the customary click-clack of their mech backpacks adding to the growing tension in the air. "The quantum key, Mama. Where is it?" Trade Dynamite barked as his codebreakers aimed their laser-pointed pistols at the heads of Byte and Blaze. Suddenly, a micro-reflex in the cybernetic flesh of Trade began twitching. "Oh, and that isn't the best part, Mama. Look what old Dynamite found in his bag of tricks." Trade pulled a strange metallic-looking spear from the pocket of his old worn robes with one of his cybernetic arms and proudly put it aloft in the air. "That's right, MamaMood. I knew you remember this." He laughed in ecstatic glee as the sphere began to glow red. An infinite helix, the stuff of dark data stream legend. MamaMood swallowed with disgust as she uttered the words from her mouth as her body tensed up in fear. "Look, Trade, I know we have history and it's very personal, but there has to be something we can work out here. You know as well as I do how many people have opened one of those things and been able to control it. You're a talented scientist and an exceptional hacker, but an infinite helix isn't dynamite, Trade. It's nuclear." Trade began laughing maniacally as he threw the infinite helix in the air. "Well, we better do a Trinity test in that case." The infinite helix's weapon's magnetic shell began to expand slowly in the air, pulsing with blue light with Trade floating alongside it, whispering incantations before shouting at the top of his lungs. "Codebreaker, subsume thyself in thy flames. Your sacrifice will not be forgotten. Target and fire." It happened in a flash that blinded them all, as a particle beam of light was directed at the unfortunate codebreaker to the left of Trade. A blinding white light, horrible silence, and then the horrendous sound as the infinite helix fried the man on the spot. A burst of corrupt data flying out into the digital ether as his existence was wiped entirely from the data stream, sending corrupt data out into the surrounding network. It would be as if he never existed, as he was wiped from physical and digital memory forever. Mama, Byte and Blaze looked on in shock before MamaMood shouted, "Now!" And Blaze, faster than a bolt of lightning, unsheathed a bottle of mega juice, poured it down MamaMood's mouth, and she unsheathed her data blade ready for some action. "This time, Trade, you have crossed the line. No one fires an infinite helix." MamaMood felt the mega juice coursing through her veins as she felt a bloodlust growing in her body, which heaved with a newfound strength. She brought her tech blade out swinging as she moved with velocity around Trade, whose mechanical arms began to dance a digital ballet with her blades, and the sparks began flying. You could have been someone, Trade, and instead you always choose this path. Shut up. I am more than a man. I am dynamite. I am a spider, one of the first to spin its cursed web. Trade's mechanical arm struck Mama on the arm, who jerked back a bit in sudden pain. I am something new. MamaMood felt the surge rising from her heart through to every part of her nervous system. Get back to reality. I can't keep sending you to the asylum, you crazy bastard. And with that, her data blade fell swiftly upon the wires connecting Trade's cranium to his spinal cord and his grotesque mechanical arms as he slumped to the floor with a crash. His last remaining codebreaker having long run for cover down a back alley as sirens began punctuating the air. Megacorp emergency services. Please clear the area. Megacorp emergency services. Please clear the area. Trade, you speak a word of this to the Megacorps. You're dead, you whimpering fuck. MamaMood pushed her data blade into his arms as he cried in pain on the floor, his body half wrecked from the punishment she had doled on his body. But whimper away in your asylum. I'm sure you'll get a receptive audience there. Trade began to scream and moan as Mama twisted the blade once more. It was MamaMood's turn to play the sadist now, and with that, Byte, Blaze and Mood ran out of the noodle bar to initiate their plan to infiltrate the Megacorp Cyber Security Division and uncover the full truth of the Luminaries, leaving Trade Dynamite alone as drones descended above to take him back home. Okay, Byte, I think we can trust you enough now. You have access to Megacorp security systems, I take it. And Byte, I could have sworn you were a little more vertically challenged when I first met you. You're a full body-swapping roid, aren't you? Actually, I prefer the term shape-shifting synth. But yes, I am a licensed synthetic. And to answer your question, I do, though I need access to a fully encrypted and protected mainframe to get access. We're taking a detour to my place then. They ran down the streets through a partial blocking field initiated that blurred their images from afar. Binary Blaze lit a joint and began to smoke it, the smoke billowing out from the data points in his neck. I better check in with the resistance properly now as well, MamaMood thought to herself. Chapter 7. The Shadows Gamble. Machine. MamaMood, Byte and Binary Blaze sprinted through the rain-soaked streets of Neonova, their digital traces obscured by the partial blocking field. Trade Dynamite lay behind them, incapacitated and left to the mercy of Megacorp's emergency services. As they reached MamaMood's high-rise apartment on the outskirts of the city, they knew their window of opportunity was fleeting. The sirens wailed in the distance, a constant reminder of the impending danger. Inside MamaMood's sanctuary, they huddled around her workstation, the quantum encryption key resting in the palm of her hand. Byte's augmented reality goggles flickered to life as he connected to the secure mainframe within MamaMood's apartment. I've got access, Byte declared as his fingers danced across a holographic keyboard. We'll wipe the police record of our presence at the noodle restaurant and leave no trace. MamaMood nodded, her expression resolute. Good, we can't afford any loose ends. Blaze, prepared the neural jammers. We'll need to bypass Megacorp's surveillance. Binary Blaze nodded, his neural jammers humming to life as he activated the devices. The apartment's walls shimmered with electromagnetic interference, creating a protective cocoon that shielded their actions from prying eyes. Byte's fingers flew across the holographic interface, manipulating data with deft precision. Within minutes, he had erased all records of the presence at the noodle restaurant. Their digital fingerprints were gone, leaving behind no evidence of their confrontation with Trade Dynamite. With their tracks cleared, MamaMood turned to her companions. It's time to infiltrate Megacorp's cybersecurity division. We need to uncover the truth about the Luminaries. Byte nodded, his shape-shifting synthetic form adapting to a taller, more imposing stature. I have the access codes. This won't be easy. The division is heavily fortified. MamaMood's neural implant buzzed with an incoming message from the Resistance. She activated the secure connection, her voice calm and resolute. This is MamaMood. I need access to the secure channel. A holographic display projected the Resistance emblem, a phoenix rising from the ashes. A masked figure suddenly appeared on their screen, their voice distorted for added security. MamaMood, we heard about the incident at the noodle restaurant. You've caused quite a stir. MamaMood didn't mince words. I need your help with an infiltration mission to the Megacorp's cybersecurity division. We're chasing leads on the Luminaries. The Resistance figure nodded solemnly. Very well, MamaMood. We'll provide you with the necessary support. The truth about the Luminaries must be exposed. As the connection terminated, MamaMood turned to her companions. The Resistance is with us. We'll have backup when we need it. Byte, let's proceed. With the apartment's neural jammers still active, they left MamaMood's safe haven, their obscured presence slipping through the rain-soaked streets once more. The night was far from over as Megacorp's cybersecurity division loomed like an impenetrable fortress on the outskirts of Neonova. Its walls were a blend of concrete and digital defences, guarded by automated drones and augmented human sentinels. Getting inside would be a daunting task. MamaMood, Byte and Binary Blaze crouched behind a holographic billboard, hidden from prying eyes. Byte adjusted his augmented reality goggles, scanning the area for weak points in the security system. There, Byte whispered, pointing to a maintenance entrance obscured by shadows. That's our way in. It's not heavily guarded, but it's still risky. MamaMood nodded in agreement. Risks are part of the game. We can't let the Luminaries control the data stream unchallenged. Blaze, keep our neural jammers active. We'll need them. The trio moved stealthily towards the maintenance entrance, their movements synchronized like a well-oiled machine. MamaMood's data blade was at the ready, and Byte's shape-shifting synthetic form allowed him to adapt to the surroundings, rendering him nearly invisible. As they approached the entrance, Binary Blaze disabled the security cameras with a flick of his wrist, creating a blind spot in Megacorp's surveillance. MamaMood swiped a stolen keycard for the electronic lock, and the door slid open silently. Inside, they found themselves in a dimly lit corridor. The hum of servers and data towers surrounded them. Byte led the way, navigating the labyrinthine passages with precision. They encountered few guards, each one falling victim to Binary Blaze's neural jammers, leaving them incapacitated and unaware of their intrusion. Their journey through the cybersecurity division depths led them to an unexpected encounter. In a dimly lit chamber, they stumbled upon a group of individuals cloaked in shadows, their identities obscured. One figure stepped forward, their voice a low melodic tone. MamaMood, Binary Blaze, Byte, you've come further than I expected. MamaMood's neural implants pinged with recognition. These were not Megacorp agents, they were members of the Luminaries, the elusive puppet masters who controlled Neonova from the shadows. You're part of the Luminaries, MamaMood stated, her tone unwavering. We seek the truth, and we won't be stopped. The Luminaries' figure nodded slowly. You seek the truth, but do you truly understand the consequences of unveiling it? The balance of power in Neonova is delicate, MamaMood. Sometimes the shadows protect more than they conceal. Byte stepped forward, his synthetic form morphing to reflect a sense of resolve. We're not here to play your games. We'll uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The Luminaries' figure regarded them with an enigmatic gaze. Very well, proceed with caution. The path you tread is treacherous, and the revelations that await may change everything. As they left the chamber, MamaMood, Byte, and Binary Blaze exchanged uneasy glances. The Luminaries were enigmatic adversaries, and the secrets they guarded ran deeper than anyone could have imagined. Their journey to expose the truth had only just begun, and the shadows of Neonova held darker secrets than they could have ever fathomed. Chapter 8. Into the Dark. Man. MamaMood, Byte and Blaze gathered together in a resistance safe house not far from the ruins of Blaze's Noodle Bar, an old semi-derelict warehouse in the Prole districts, rarely patrolled with no one in control. MamaMood suddenly perked up in the silence that had descended between them. So I suppose we all realise how utterly foobar this entire situation is. MamaMood was dragging on a rolled cigarette that Blaze had just passed her as they sat around on an austere, modernist table. Binary Blaze smiled as he looked down between Mama and Byte, who shifted a little, uncomfortable in his chair. Mama, I apologise if this is out of line. Byte perked up suddenly from his chair. But I could have sworn I heard you say you and Trade had history. Blaze's expression turned a little sour as Mama was overcome with a look of uncharacteristic distant reflection in her porcelain face. Should I tell him? Blaze looked at Mama with eyes of concern and shoulders that said, tread carefully. No, it's okay, Blaze. I think we can trust Byte enough to let things get more personal between us all. We're all beyond the first name stage. I think it's fair to say. She exhaled from her cigarette as she spoke. Okay, Byte, if there's one thing I know about Sims, and trust me, I've known a few in my time, even loved a few, is that I know there is one thing you've got hard-coded in those mech brains of yours, and that is a moral code. I'm aware, and never shall the law be contravened, and long may it reign in the data stream. Be at ease, MamaMood. I have already initiated a memory sim lock and can delete this one at will. My algorithm, as you know, is incapable of lying to any sentient form of life, as it would contravene the law above all laws. If this memory is ever at risk of being extracted for any purpose, it will automatically corrupt, like it never existed. And with a sudden double flash from Byte's ears, Mama and Blaze could see what he said was true. Okay, so I'll just tell it to you straight then, Byte. Trade Dynamite is my brother. Wait, what? Byte almost fell back from his chair with shock. Either that, or was still adjusting to his stocky skin upgrade from before. We were once very close. As close as a brother and sister can get to each other. Linked, you could say, by a shared brilliance and a shared taste for trouble. We were brought up not long after the Great Leap of 2050. Such turbulent revolutionary times for humanity. Our parents were simple people, those that had managed to make it through the depression of the 40s. Our father was an infosec first class, and our mother an exceptionally talented data cruncher for Silob Industries. Mama swallowed a little with sadness as she recalled her past, its past which to her felt like another life. Life was good, if a little tough at times. We were living through an age of incredible technical ascendancy, a transformative age into the information age we now find ourselves in the middle of. Another drag on a cigarette before she paused and stubbed it out in the ashtray in the centre of the table. Trade's real name isn't Trade, of course, and no, Byte, you're not going to get mine. I like you, but not that much. Trade's real name is Troy. Troy was my younger brother by 4 years. As we were growing up, Troy was always there to support and guide me whenever I felt down. A mentor and protector as all brothers should be, I think. However, Troy was an extremely troubled soul, isolated, emotionally turbulent, and at times extremely arrogant. Years passed, and Troy eventually went on to study at the prestigious MT University, studying mechanical and electrical engineering. And then from there, a postdoctorate in the new field of bioengineering. We were distant then, as can often be the case between a brother and a sister, but I was happy for him. I was drifting myself, drowning in the data stream. Then it happened. What is that? Byte leaned forward, the gleam of a passing parcel drone suddenly brightening his face up for a few seconds before passing back into the dark. Troy was getting into consciousness research, the heavy stuff, beyond analysis. Looking into real verifiable ways that corporations might be able to preserve consciousness in a machine. You, MamaMood looked at Byte, you yourself are partially a product of that very research, no doubt, and it was academics and scientists like my brother who gave that bird its wings. It was work. I still think that he should be proud of. MamaMood smiled at Byte. But my brother began to go too far. After the triumph of his colleagues and he, his arrogance began to overtake the rational part of his mind which usually kept that in place. He began obsessing about his own personal research, rambling at me late at night about the Helix, about some sort of innovative but secret project he was working on which he couldn't mention. I was already an established cybersecurity expert, like you at that time. I returned his calls, but not always in a good mood if I'm honest. He had what in any other age would have been classed as a nervous breakdown. I did my best, and would visit him as often as I could, but his depression seemed to dissolve into his manias, rambling. He could even become violent at times, and so I abandoned him, I suppose. I gave up on him. I see, whispered Byte with a tone of hushed respect. Well, no words, please. Blaze looked at Byte with a stern look. I've heard this story a few times, Byte, but it's not easy for Mama to think about all this. Why do you think I gave her all those Giga Juice capsules? Like anyone, we just want to forget we got deep into this mess. You know what I mean? We all want to escape. Byte nodded. A thin man with a jacket emblazoned with a phoenix upon it. He'll see you now. If your synth tries any funny business, there will be hell to pay. But, he stared at Blaze and MamaMood, you've both never let us down before, so he gets a pass. The thin man handed Byte a thin card which had a holographic phoenix rising from the ashes printed upon its surface. Welcome to the Resistance. And with that they walked into the offices of one of the most powerful and wise men in all of Neonova. Chapter 9. Secrets Unveiled. Machine. MamaMood, Byte and Binary Blaze entered the dimly lit room where the leader of the Resistance awaited them. The air was thick with tension and uncertainty, but there was also an unspoken camaraderie amongst those who had dared to challenge the powerful Luminaries. The Resistance leader, known only as Vortex, sat at the head of a long, worn-out table. His face was shrouded in shadows, and the flickering holographic displays around the room gave him an eerie aura. He spoke with a voice that carried the weight of years spent battling the oppressive regime of the Luminaries. Welcome, MamaMood, Binary Blaze, and Byte, Vortex began, his voice a low rumble. You've come seeking the truth about the Luminaries and their control over the data stream. It's a perilous path you tread, one that has claimed many before you. MamaMood, her determination unshaken, responded. We've already faced dangers, Vortex. We won't stop until we uncover the secrets they are hiding. Vortex nodded, acknowledging their resolve. Very well. To understand the Luminaries, you must first grasp the nature of their power. They have access to an advanced quantum computing network, known as the QNet. It's the backbone of their control over the data stream. Our intel suggests that the heart of the QNet is a quantum core, a device of unimaginable power. Binary Blazed, leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with curiosity. A quantum core? That's the stuff of legend. But how do we get to it? Vortex's holographic display flickered to life, showing a schematic of Neonova's sprawling cyber infrastructure. The core is heavily guarded, but there's a vulnerability. A hidden back door, if you will. It's a quantum entanglement portal, hidden within the corporate headquarters of Zentech Industries. Byte interjected. Zentech? They're one of the most powerful megacorps in Neonova. Infiltrating their headquarters won't be easy. Vortex nodded in agreement. Correct. It won't be easy, but it's your best chance. The portal allows instantaneous data transmission across vast distances. If you can access it, you might be able to reach the quantum core and expose the Luminaries' secrets. MamaMood exchanged determined glances with her companions. We'll do whatever it takes, Vortex. As they left the Resistance safe house, MamaMood couldn't help but think of the challenges ahead. The Luminaries were a formidable adversary, and their grip on Neonova was unrelenting. Still, they had a plan and a newfound ally in the Resistance. Meanwhile, in the depths of the Neonova asylum, Trade Dynamite lay strapped to a medical bed, wires and electrodes attached to his cybernetic body. The events of the noodle restaurant had taken a toll on him, both physically and mentally. A doctor with a cold demeanour approached him, checking the readouts on a nearby screen. Trade, your obsession with the Luminaries has brought you to the brink of madness. Your actions are a danger to yourself and society. Trade, his eyes filled with a wild determination, hissed through gritted teeth. You fools can't comprehend the truth. The Luminaries hold the key to the future. A future where humanity transcends the limitations of the flesh. The doctor shook his head, pity in his eyes. You're deluded, Trade. But perhaps there's a way to channel your brilliance for the betterment of Neonova. We have a project in mind, one that requires someone of your unique skills. Trade Dynamite's eyes narrowed, intrigued despite himself. Tell me more. As the doctor began to explain the mysterious project, Trade's mind raced to possibilities. He saw a glimmer of hope, a chance to once again wield his intellect and reshape the world, even from within the confines of the asylum. Little did he know that his path would intersect once more with MamaMood, Byte and Binary Blaze in the perilous journey to uncover the Luminaries' secrets. Chapter 10. An evening inside Trade Dynamite's head. Man. Trade lay hooked to the table as the surgeons began the procedure, his eyes rolling around in semi-consciousness as he drifted in and out, as white flashes roared on the sides of his vision. So you told you what you want to do? Repeat back to us the nature of your mission. A stern, authoritative voice from somewhere to the side. Serve myself? Serve the Luminaries? I don't know. I don't know anymore. Tell her I'm sorry. I didn't mean to take things as far as they went. I should have. He's losing it again. Give him another dose. 20 milligrams this time. The voice sounded again from some distant corner of Trade's consciousness as he struggled to make out where it was coming from, before a slight intake of breath as the voice continued. Trade, you're aware who you are, correct? Surely the cranial damage can't be that bad, Doctor. A quieter female voice sounded to his side. Trent strained to hear them as he felt warm liquid entering his veins, and all went quiet. The doctors within the asylum breathed a sigh of relief as Trade went into a comatose state, his eyes rolling back before closing. He looks almost peaceful, Dr. Gilliam whispered in a sort of quiet awe as one of the most notorious and dangerous scientists of their age fell into a deep sleep of visions. Maybe on the outside, but within, Gilliam. Within him there are uncontrollable storms raging. Come, Gilliam, learn of what we must now deal with in our science. You see, the things with dreams or nightmares is they're as real as our conscious mind gives them space to grow. It's your first month. In all honesty, it's best if I just show you on the monitor. Now, Gilliam, I warn you before you proceed. This will not be pleasant. Gilliam stared upon the screen, which was merely a black void, before a faint white flicker began on the screen. He is in REM sleep. Here we go, sighed the doctor with a sigh. Begin broadcasting all of the sub-levels. Wait, Doctor, who are you giving that command to? Not who, what? He pointed to a large server running in the corner of their surgery. Don't be too freaked out, Gilliam. It's something that this mad bastard helped bring into the world, ironically enough. QNet, a network utilising the physics of quantum computing and the power of mass media. It means that for people like Trade, people even as lost as him can still serve some creative purpose. The doctor pressed a button on the microphone before him as they both observed the screen before them in hushed silence because our forms began to self-organise on the screen. Insectoid forms mixing the mechanical, like something out of a H.R. Geiger painting. Alien-like forms that made sickening sounds. Obscene mixtures of man and machine. But Doctor, what is the purpose of all this? Gilliam inquired. You're kidding, right? It's entertainment, of course. Do you know what keeps Neonova running? The core systems? All of it? Well, why would you know, I suppose? There are thousands of men like this one here. Cybernetic humanoids of which he was one of the first. I mean, we all get augmented now and again. Nobody likes to tick-tock of the clock and all that. Some took it way too far, though. I've heard of the early post-human experiments being a bit messy. Yes. Gilliam shivered as she saw the discord of violence intensify on the screen. Those poor bastards. We do need to feel sorry for them. It's our job, sighed the doctor. But asylums don't pay for themselves, and the Luminaries, whoever they are, well, they keep the lights on here. Gilliam nodded as they continued their observations. Why are his dreams so unrelentingly grim, Doctor? Has this man ever looked at the beauty of a flower, or felt joy? Once. You should read his file. He was semi-crippled after a suicide attempt whilst on a work detail in the sub-levels. Then, and this is the best part, that's where we found out this trade dynamite was actually once a professor, an academic of the highest calibre. The records suggest he had a huge nervous breakdown after his research on consciousness, retreated into delusions, got into the early cybernetic scene. That was a Wild West from what I have gathered. You're telling me. I was there for the cusp end of it in the 70s. It wasn't pretty, believe me. But then Megacorp came in, giving the broken husks a bit of a life at least. Luminaries feed them their daily dose of this. Bada bing, bada bosh, everybody's happy, or at least functional. I guess in a cold sort of way it makes sense, Gilliam shivered. That's the way of the universe, cold, logical, and ultimately unfeeling. Troy could have been someone if he had taken heed of that, the doctor sniggered slightly. Well, that's life, I guess, Gillian whispered. She gazed again at Troy, his eyes closed, save for the occasional twitch. Funniest part is, Gilliam, he's been here before and he'll be here again and again and again. There is really no escape for this one. That's why he's Category A. You've done well today. I'll make sure to pass the glowing report to the board. You might be asked to do an occasional night shift to monitor him. He has escaped before, but the machines do most of the work, and if he ever gets really worked up, run. Understood. Chapter 11. Journey through the QNet machine. MamaMood, Byte and Binary Blaze stood before the pulsating portal to the QNet, a virtual reality realm where reality itself danced on the edge of possibility. It was a place where the laws of physics were but mere suggestions, and data flowed like an ever-shifting river. Blaze took a deep breath and turned to his companions. Remember, folks, we're diving headfirst into the heart of Zentech's digital fortress. This ain't going to be a walk in the park. Byte nodded, his synthetic face determined. I've secured our access points, and the cloaking algorithms should keep us hidden in the data stream. Mama, you ready for this? MamaMood cracked a half smile. Born ready. With synchronized precision, they stepped into the shimmering portal, and reality melted away. The trio found themselves in a realm of swirling colours and cascading lines of code, like an ever-expanding cosmic tapestry. Binary blazes, neon tattoos glowed brighter in the digital wonderland. MamaMood activated her data blade, and it materialised in her hand, a sleek razor-sharp weapon made of pure energy. Stay close, everyone, she said. We don't know what kind of security Zentech has in place. They navigated the chaotic landscape of the QNet, where nodes of information blinked like stars in a vast cosmic void. Data streams and digital currents surged around them, threatening to pull them apart. Byte led the way, his synthetic form adapting effortlessly to the digital environment. We're approaching the first firewall, he reported. Stand by for decryption. MamaMood and Binary Blaze watched in awe as Byte extended his arms, and his fingers transformed into intricate tendrils of light. He touched the barrier, and a shockwave of code rippled outward. The security here is impressive, Byte admitted, his voice tinged with admiration, but not impressive enough. With a final surge of energy, Byte shattered the firewall, creating a rift in the data stream. They moved forward, deeper into Zentech's digital fortress. As they pressed on, the virtual environment shifted around them. They found themselves in a vast luminous forest, a digital realm of endless possibilities. Glowing data leaves rustled in the virtual breeze, and streams of binary code meandered like streams through the landscape. Remember, MamaMood cautioned, this place may look beautiful, but it's still part of the defense system. Stay focused. They continued their journey, encountering more firewalls and encryption layers. Byte's expertise proved invaluable as he dismantled each obstacle, allowing them to advance further into the labyrinthine depths of the QNet. Finally, they reached the heart of Zentech's digital stronghold, a towering virtual citadel that loomed before them like a fortress carved from light itself. At its centre, a colossal crystalline data core pulsed with unimaginable power. This is it, Byte announced. The mainframe where the Luminaries control the data stream. We need to find evidence of their involvement and expose it. MamaMood nodded. Let's not waste any time. Blaze, secure our exit point. Byte, start the data extraction process. I'll keep an eye out for any surprises. As Byte initiated the extraction, the data core's defences activated. Digital sentinels emerged from the walls, their bodies composed of pure code. They surged towards the intruders, their movements fluid and unpredictable. Binary Blaze sprang into action, his body moving with uncanny speed. His neon tattoos flickered as he engaged the attackers. MamaMood joined the fight, her data blade slicing through the digital assailants with precision. Byte's fingers danced across the holographic interface, his synthetic mind racing to bypass the security measures. I'm almost there, he called out. The battle raged on, a clash of light and code in the heart of the digital realm. MamaMood's data blade hummed with power as she defended their position, and Binary Blaze's neon-enhanced combat skills were a dazzling display of agility. Then with a final keystroke, Byte triumphantly announced, extraction complete. As if in response, the data core released a burst of energy, and the digital sentinels dissolved into streams of code. The trio watched as the crystalline structure shattered, revealing a hidden chamber within. MamaMood approached the chamber cautiously, her data blade at the ready. Inside, they found a holographic console displaying incriminating evidence, a digital trail linking the Luminaries to the manipulation of the data stream. We've got it, MamaMood said with satisfaction. This is the evidence we need to expose the truth. Just as they prepared to leave the digital realm, a voice echoed around them, a voice that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of the QNet. Impressive intruders, the voice said, dripping with malevolence. But did you really think you could breach our defences so easily? Suddenly, the digital landscape warped and twisted, and the trio found themselves in a new location, a surreal amalgamation of data and reality. It was a realm where the boundaries between the digital and the physical worlds blurred. Before them stood a figure cloaked in shadows, an enigmatic presence that radiated power. It was a luminary, an architect of the data stream. "What do you want?" MamaMood demanded, her data blade ready. The luminary smiled, a sinister expression that seemed to defy the laws of virtual physics. "I want to play a game of secrets and revelations." With a wave of the luminary's hand, the digital environment shifted, revealing a holographic display of trade dynamite, still hooked to the operating table in the asylum. "You see, dear intruders," the luminary continued, "trade dynamite holds the key to a secret so profound that it could shatter the very foundations of Neonova. If you want to learn the truth, you'll have to delve into his fractured mind." MamaMood, Byte and Binary Blaze exchanged uncertain glances. The mission had taken an unexpected turn, and the fate of Neonova hung in the balance. "Very well," MamaMood said, her determination unwavering. "We accept your challenge, but know this, luminary, no secret can remain hidden forever." The enigmatic figure laughed, a chilling sound that reverberated through the digital realm. "We shall see." And with that, the trio embarked on a perilous journey into the fragmented mind of Trade Dynamite, where the past, present, and future intertwined in a tapestry of secrets and revelations. Chapter 12. Trade Secrets. Man. MamaMood shook a little as she looked down upon the shattered frame of her brother lying upon the doctor's table, holding back the pain inside to appear strong to the others. "Mama," Byte said from her side, "you've done everything, and I mean everything in your power to save him." Byte may have had the body of an android, but that fragment of him that was human knew at least what love can do to people. Binary Blaze put his arm around MamaMood's shoulder, embraced her with a loving kiss to her cheek, and clutched her sweaty palms as tears began to pour through her augmented eyes. "All of it, Mama. All of it to give him. Well, you know what we need to give Troy now." "Peace," the group said in unison. "Peace for Troy. No more dynamite. But first," Mama glanced at the doctors at her side, "first you give me my chance. My chance to say goodbye before you pull the plug. Plug me in. Interface me with my brother." "This is highly irregular," Dr. Gilliam spoke from the doctor's observation chamber. "I don't give a damn. You are letting me say goodbye to my brother." Mama was not taking no for an answer anymore. A glow burned in Mama's crimson vision as Blaze inserted the interfacing wire into her head jack. "Best piece of hardware work I ever did. Took more care of this head hack than any of the wires around my neck," Blaze thought as he gave Mama a kiss on the hand. "Go, my love, and give Troy the peace he needs." Mama awoke into Troy's old room to the sound of a clock ticking loudly. It must have been a late night's evening, and the silence was deafening. "Troy?" Mama spoke out in the dim room for the first time. "Are you around here anywhere? Troy? It's Megan. Where are you?" A faint whimpering could suddenly be heard over the tick-tock of the clock as it continued on its metronome duty. A sound she recognised all too well. So many memories, so many regrets, so many nights wishing she could bring him back from the brink alone. "Megan, please go away." Suddenly Meg heard the voice of her brother in the darkness in the corner of the room. "But Troy, why are you hiding?" "I had a nightmare again, Meg. Please don't tell Mum and Dad." "What happened in your nightmare, Troy?" MamaMood struggled with the words as the emotional intensity of this moment began to take a toll, but she remained steadfast and stoic, her teeth gritting in the doctor's surgery. "What's wrong?" Blaze looked at Gilliam and the head doctor with unease present in his voice. "How are her readouts on your monitors there?" "Everything is fine, Blaze. Please don't worry. We'll let you know if anything unusual starts showing up." Gilliam answered back after a glance to the stern head doctor, who just nodded through the pulsating glow of their observation room. Would you like the nightmares to stop, Troy? Yeah, Meg. Do you know a way to stop them? How do I do it? How? It's so terrible, Meg. There is a dark man and he comes at me with knives. He tells me he's going to get me, swallow me up whole. He tells me things. Horrible things, Meg. I can't bear it. I can tell you the way. Meg reached out to her brother and gave him a warm hug that lifted her weight from both their metaphysical shoulders. That man is called the Luminary. To make him disappear forever, I just need you to eat this. It's an apple I found in the garden. Wait a minute, Meg. We don't have a garden. Troy's voice suddenly rose in sudden suspicion of his sister. MamaMood breathed deeply. She knew how to handle situations like this. I should have crafted something that was better than an apple, she thought to herself. The metaphor was too obvious. It was time to improvise. I meant an apple crunch bar. I just got one from the fridge. It's nice, warm and crunchy. She took a bite into the apple crunch bar before going, see? Tasty. And it will make the luminary disappear. Poof. Just like that. Wipe forever, and you can forget about all this and have a restful night's sleep at last. Come on now. I'm your elder sister. Would I lie to you? I suppose not. And with that, Troy took the apple crunch from his sister's hand and bit into it. Meg looked at Troy and waited for the inevitable info dump to begin. Troy suddenly started gagging on the apple crunch as he stared at Meg with horrified eyes. Why? He screamed as his body jerked back and he began to float above Meg in the dimness of his childhood room. You've killed people, Troy. You let the Luminary take control of your brilliance. You were ill and I was desperate. Desperate beyond all reason to find a cure for you. I've never given up on you through it all. You need to let go. MamaMood was coming through the digital now, melting and merging into the real. Who is the Luminary, Troy? I command you to info dump now and may you finally rest. The doctors started to make worried looks at each other as Byte watched in awe at the scene unfolding before them. Father, thought Byte from some strange place which could have been a memory, but was most likely an implant. May you rest in peace. Troy's body was jerking and twitching uncontrollably on his table, he was fastened down to as the info dump was initiated. A process which would inevitably kill him, as the information would be extracted from his very neurons. Within Troy's room once more, a green pulsating light began to surround him, as if he were consuming his body in artificial light, and his screaming ceased, and a look of serene bliss descended down upon his face. It was time to learn the truth about who the Luminary was. Chapter 13. Unmasking the Luminary. Machine. In the digital realm of Troy's fragmented memories, MamaMood watched as her brother's body convulsed and writhed. The green light that enveloped him pulsed with an otherworldly energy, as if he were siphoning away its very essence. Please, Troy, MamaMood pleaded, her voice trembling with a mixture of sorrow and determination. Tell me about the Luminary. We need to know the truth. As if in response to her word, the room around them began to shift and morph. Walls of code cascaded down like digital waterfalls, and memories swirled around like ethereal mist. Troy's voice, now disembodied and filled with an eerie calmness, filled the air. The Luminary is not one entity but a consortium of the most influential and powerful figures within Neonova. They operate from the shadows, controlling every aspect of our society. MamaMood felt a chill down her spine as she listened to her brother's revelation. But why, Troy? What is their ultimate goal? The Luminary seeks absolute dominion over the data stream. Troy's voice continued, his words echoing through the digital landscape. They manipulate information, control public perception, and bend the very fabric of reality to suit their agenda. Byte blazed and the doctors watched with bated breath as the info dump unfolded, revealing the dark secrets buried within Troy's consciousness. The Luminary's influence extends into every facet of our lives, Troy explained. They engineer social narratives, manipulate elections, and even orchestrate global conflicts, all to maintain their grip on power. MamaMood's eyes shimmered with tears as she absorbed the magnitude of her brother's revelation. We have to expose them, Troy. We have to bring their corruption into the light. Troy's digital form began to fragment, his voice growing fainter. You can't trust anyone, Meg. The The luminary. They're always watching. Be careful. As the last echoes of Troy's voice faded, the digital room dissolved, and MamaMood found herself back in the doctor's surgery. Troy's body lay motionless on the table, the green light extinguished. MamaMood's heart ached with grief as she realised the sacrifice her brother had made to reveal the truth about the luminary. She turned to the doctors, her voice resolute. We have what we need. The evidence to expose the luminary and their corruption. Dr. Gilliam nodded solemnly. We'll compile the data and make sure it reaches the right hands. Neonova deserves to know the truth. Back in the real world, Byte disconnected the interfacing wire from MamaMood's head jack. She blinked as her consciousness returned to her physical body, tears streaming down her cheeks. Blaze embraced her once more, offering silent support. We did it, MamaMood whispered, her voice filled with a mixture of relief and sorrow. With the evidence in hand, they left the asylum behind, knowing that they carried the weight of their discoveries and the responsibility to expose the Luminaries' dark secrets. In the days that followed, the truth about the Luminaries' manipulation of the data stream was revealed to the public. The citizens of Neonova rose up in protest, demanding justice and transparency. As the Luminaries' influence crumbled, the city underwent a transformation. The data stream flowed freely once more, and the people reclaimed their right to information. MamaMood, Byte, and Binary Blaze stood together on a rooftop overlooking the city. The neon lights of Neonova shone brightly in the night sky. We did it, MamaMood said, a smile on her face. We brought the truth to light. Byte nodded, his synthetic features reflecting pride, and we gave Troy the peace he deserved. Blaze looked down at the city, a sense of fulfillment in his eyes. Neonova is free again, and we played our part in that. The trio turned to each other, a silent understanding passing between them. They had faced insurmountable odds, uncovered dark secrets, and fought for justice in a world ruled by data and deception. As the city of Neonova embraced a new era of transparency and accountability, MamaMood, Byte, and Binary Blaze knew that their battle against the forces of manipulation and control was far from over. But they also knew that as long as they stood together, they would continue to be a beacon of hope in a world where man and machine could make a difference. And so, they watched over the city, their resolve unshaken, their spirits unbroken, ready for whatever challenges the future might bring. For in the end, it was a relentless pursuit of truth that defined their existence in the ever-shifting landscape of man versus machine. End. Research 25/09/2023. It's 3 days into this experiment and I already am a quarter of the way through the novella. Some initial thoughts on the experience of writing with ChatGPT as a writing aid. The first initial psychological effect I've noticed is that it aids with occasional creative blocks and does propel me forward a little faster. However, there seems to be a side effect of this, which is that ChatGPT advances the plot far too fast, which kills a lot of the tension I find at times when reading. With Chapter 1, I loved some of the early lore it managed to generate, but it did have one vital factor missing: novelty. This is to be expected, I suppose, given that ChatGPT is modelled on existing data and is essentially just a prediction engine without real intelligence. As a writer, this meant so far that I've had to cover the tracks of its mistakes as I go along. It doesn't understand that when I first introduced a character of Byte, for example, I specified that he was for all intents and purposes a midget. But in one of the chapters generated by ChatGPT, he becomes a man of tall stature. Misunderstandings and a lack of keeping track of an internal logical structure seem to be a challenge for it. This surprises me, as I would assume that logic and detail retention, or at least an approximation of it, would be present in ChatGPT. On the plus side, I decided to prompt ChatGPT with generating a cyberpunk novel which had forced me to use my imagination to work around the edges and invent creative solutions, and it keeps me on my toes as a writer to have to spot those errors. This does make me think that I chose the perfect genre for this experiment, as with cyberpunk and science fiction you can get away with a lot more. The story overall I think is a bit like pulp science fiction and there's a lot of familiar tropes, but there are some interesting themes to explore there, and try and at least to introduce some novelty. But it's a fine balance between not taking the story off in too wide directions that it loses internal structure and aiming to make a text that is engaging. 25/09/2023, 3:56 a.m. Interesting. Upon asking ChatGPT to write chapter 9, it failed to add a title, and on the run of the first prompt it merely simplified the text and told the same story from chapter 8, written by me in fewer words. I modified the prompt and rerun it with better results, though it seemed to not generate a title as it has been doing automatically without me prompting, which is curious. 26/09/2023, 2:14 a.m. In a mood. Insomnia has taken its grip on me, but chapter 10 needs to be written still, and in the words of Pearl Jam, I'm still alive. Let's see how this goes. Read part of Carl Jung's Red Book, and even that didn't help. Uncanny feeling. Took 2 of my pills, didn't help. A little suicidal ideation. Will this be the one that finally finishes me off? What's the point? May as well continue on. Not tonight, Void. 26/09/2023, 3:05 a.m. So I prompted for ChatGPT, specified a word count, and it unceremoniously did not interpret that correctly. Annoyingly enough, it still hung up on ending every chapter with a similar sentence. The novelty factor is just not there, which is becoming annoying to work with, to say the least, as I regenerated it, hoping for better results. I generated it a second time and it produced a much better chapter, though completely misinterpreted the command, so it included Troy at the end of the chapter. But to be honest, I do like the mischievous nature of it at times, or at least the approximation of it, to not do what it's told. The ending is a much more satisfying challenge, and I think the story is nearing its conclusion. Overall, I would say it has moments, albeit at times it gets drowned in an excess of technobabble, and at worst quantum mumbo-jumbo, which I'm having to do my best to improvise around. 27/09/2023, 7:26 a.m. Finally caught up on sleep, feeling a bit achy this morning, but had a cup of tea to wake me up a bit. Need to finish chapter 12. I think probably the story seems to be reaching its natural conclusion, and the word count isn't too far from the 18,000, 20,000 I'd planned to write alongside ChatGPT. I have written 5,338 words so far, and ChatGPT 5,779, so it's beating me at words written, but not by much. I have to admit, some part of my ego feels slightly wounded by that. Perhaps having ChatGPT is making me too lazy as a writer. My subjective feeling is a bit of both at this point. It is pushing me forward with the draft, but the amount of work I have to do to cover obvious plot holes is quite frustrating, as well as its tendency to cover any potential issues that might occur in regard with the word quantum, which feels like the kind of thing a lazy science fiction would do to avoid explaining something. 27/09/2023, 10:24 p.m. Listening to Destroyer of Worlds from the Oppenheimer soundtrack again. Welling up within, on the cusp of tears, but not there. It's time to kill off Trade Dynamite. Really, this shouldn't make me feel sad, as he's the villain of the story, but it is, and I am, and that's it. This chapter should be relatively fine to sketch out, and I'm about to proceed with my first draft. Dear readers, wish me luck. 27/09/2023, 11:04 p.m. Almost done with this chapter. I think I will get ChatGPT to round off and see how creative it can get with the ending. Ending on chapter 13, but I'm not particularly superstitious. 28/09/2023, 1:33 a.m. It's done. Still struggling with sleep, but it's done. I will now leave it as it is. No point spoiling the experiment by being vain, apart from any spelling or grammatical mistakes I might need to fix in the text. The text from me will remain unedited. I just totaled up the results for word count and final word count. Machine, ChatGPT, 6,524. Man, Chris Godber, 6,161. Word count winner, machine. This means, of course, that in terms of speed of generating text and chapters, ChatGPT was much more efficient in terms of the time taken to generate text and sentences. I can't possibly comment on the quality of the prose because that would be absurdly self-indulgent. I will comment on my subjective feelings, however, at this point, whilst it is still fresh in my memory. The detailed prompt information is in the following chapter. The first chapter got me quite excited, if I'm honest, though in all honesty it generated little novelty in terms of the concepts. Reading as it does like a mix of classic sci-fi cyberpunk tropes, the megacorps was a particular pain to write around and try and incorporate without cringing inside, and some novel ideas. ChatGPT did seem to have a good turnover rate for sentence generation, and in the first chapter it created some descriptive sentences that did provoke something akin to emotion. At times, though all too frequently, I did find myself laughing slightly derisively at what it was generating. I don't want to hurt the Luminaries' feelings, so I'll leave it at that. I hope you read the story and my observations that have followed, that you have found something of interest within, and that it may aid your own experiments with either writing or artificial intelligence. The technology is here to stay, so may as well fuck around with it and find out, is my philosophy. The more important question is, who do you think won? Prompts. The following are the prompts used on ChatGPT to generate the chapters written by the AI. These outline the process I developed to attempt to generate meaningful prose from ChatGPT as the story progressed, and are copied verbatim from the ChatGPT client as they were typed by me as, I think, human being, Chris Godber. 2023. Author intro. Write an author's introduction for this story, Man and Machine. This is a story where you'll be collaborating with author Chris Godber, who you may mention or not. Be creative and invent a persona for the purposes of the introduction if you wish. Refer to the prompts above for more context on the story, which is a cyberpunk tale. A collaboration between man and machine. Write it in any style. Synopsis. Write a synopsis for Man vs. Machine, maximum of 50 words. 22/09/2023. Chapter 1. Write the first chapter of a story called Man vs. Machine, a story in a cyberpunk setting set in the year 2080. Take inspiration from the films Aliens, Blade Runner and Gattaca. There will be a main character called MamaMood and her antagonist Trade Dynamite. Include themes of cybercrime, alienation and dystopia. Ideally a word count of 1500 to 2000 words and an emphasis on creative use of language, including an imagined futuristic lexicon. Chapter 3. Take the following text from Chapter 2, which is a continuation of the first chapter of Man vs. Machine, and write a third chapter building on the narrative which is being created around MamaMood, Binary Blaze and Trade Dynamite. Think of ways to make some action happen which deepens MamaMood's and Binary Blaze's relationship in a platonic sense. Make sure to include a scene where MamaMood and Binary Blaze meet again at the noodle shop, and imagine some novel piece of information Binary Blaze can impart to MamaMood for her next job. 23/09/2023. Write Chapter 5. Write Chapter 5 continuing on from this chapter. Get Byte to meet MamaMood in the noodle shop and to meet Binary Blaze as well. From here we have some sort of reveal as of an intense discussion involving the Luminaries and somehow involving Trade Dynamite. Aim for a word count of 2000 words. End on a cliffhanger. Chapter 7. Write Chapter 7 of Man and Machine. In this chapter, MamaMood, Byte and Binary Blaze will go to MamaMood's apartment, wipe the police record of them being at the noodle restaurant, and then proceed to infiltrate Megacorp's cybersecurity division to find out more about the Luminaries. They will meet Luminaries at some point who will be introduced as new characters. Write creatively and also take into account the events in the text from Chapter 6 below. Chapter 9. Write Chapter 9 of Man vs. Machine. In this chapter, our main characters, MamaMood, Binary Blaze and Byte, will be meeting the leader of the resistance, and we'll move on to the next part of their quest to find the truth that the Luminaries are trying to hide from them, and how they're controlling the data stream. Take into account this text from Chapter 8 when writing and be creative. Note. On first one, this was completely misunderstood by ChatGPT, as it just regurgitated the chapter in a shorter form, so I had to rerun it to not completely ruin the entire chapter. First run. MamaMood, Byte and Binary Blaze sat in a store-resistant safe house, grappling with the weight of their quest to uncover the truth behind the Luminaries and the control of the data stream. The atmosphere was tense, and MamaMood decided it was time to reveal a deeply personal connection to her adversary, Trade Dynamite. She began to recount her history of trade, revealing that he was her older brother Troy. They had grown up in the wake of the technological leap of 2050, with their parents working in the tech industry. As they matured, Troy's brilliance led him to study advanced fields like mechanical and electrical engineering, and eventually consciousness research. MamaMood described how her brother had become consumed by his research, obsessed with a secret project tied to the enigmatic helix. He suffered a breakdown, and despite her attempts to help, she eventually distanced herself. It was a painful chapter in her life, one which she had tried to forget. Byte listened respectfully, understanding the complexities of their past and the emotional toll it had taken on MamaMood. Binary Blaze, too, expressed empathy, offering insight into the shared desire to escape their troubled histories. Their conversation was interrupted by a thin man with a phoenix emblem on his jacket, welcoming them to the resistance. With a holographic card in hand, Byte led the group into the presence of a powerful figure in Neonova, ready to take the next step in their mission to confront the Luminaries and unearth the truth that had eluded them so long. Chapter 9, Second Attempt. Write Chapter 9 of Man vs. Machine. In this chapter, our main characters MamaMood, Binary Blaze and Byte will be meeting the leader of the resistance, and will move on to the next part of their quest to find the truth that the Luminaries are trying to hide from them, and how they are controlling the data stream. Take into account all that has happened before, focus on dialogue. End on something interesting being revealed about the Luminaries, and write a scene of trade dynamite in this island once more. Chapter 11. Write Chapter 11 of Man vs. Machine. In this chapter, MamaMood, Byte and Binary Blaze will start their mission into Zentech through their portal into the QNet. Have them complete their mission and report back to Vortex. Write 2,100 words. A focus on action with a creative use of prose. Take into account the following text, which was Chapter 10, but do not include Trent Dynamite in this chapter. First attempt, Chapter 11. Chapter 11, Quantum Treadmill. MamaMood, Binary Blaze and Byte stood in front of a massive metallic portal that glowed with an eerie azure light. The portal was their gateway into Zentech, the labyrinthine heart of the cyber world controlled by the enigmatic Luminaries. It was a place where virtual reality melded seamlessly with the digital realm, and few dared to tread. Blaze adjusted his data goggles while MamaMood tapped her fingertips together in nervous anticipation. Byte, his synthetic body resembling an ordinary man's, looked composed as always. The mission was clear: infiltrate Zentech, gather vital information on the Luminaries, and expose their control over the data stream. The portal's destabilization routine is ready, Byte said, his voice carrying the synthetic cadence of calm. Once we're inside, we'll have limited time to complete our mission before they detect our presence. MamaMood nodded, her augmented eyes scanning the portal. Remember, folks, this isn't just a quest for answers, it's a fight for freedom. We can't let the Luminaries manipulate the data stream any longer. Blaze's fingers danced over his wrist console, initiating the portal's activation sequence. A low hum reverberated through the room as the portal's luminous glow intensified. It expanded, creating a simmering rift through which they could glimpse the digital expanse of Zentech. Ready? Blaze asked. MamaMood drew her data blade and nodded. Byte tightened his grip on his neural interface gloves. With synchronized determination, they stepped into the portal. As they crossed the threshold, reality shifted around them. The laws of physics warped, and they found themselves within Zentech, a surreal, ever-changing landscape of neon towers, cascading data streams, and fractured digital landscapes. Welcome to the quantum playground, MamaMood muttered. Byte initiated a stealth program, cloaking them from immediate detection. Their mission was to infiltrate Zentech's inner sanctum and find evidence the Luminary's sinister control over the data stream. The trio navigated through digital corridors, their every step met with shifting pathways and evolving obstacles. Data constructs came to life, challenging them with puzzles and codes. Blaze, with his quick thinking, dismantled digital defences with swipes of his virtual blade. Byte's encryption skills cracked even the most intricate security protocols, revealing hidden passages. As they ventured deeper, they sensed an unsettling presence watching them, the digital guardians of Zentech. Vortex, their contact within the Resistance, had warned them about these entities. They were part of the Luminaries' defence, crafted from AI and code. the sole purpose to protect the secrets of Zentech. Stay sharp, Byte cautioned, his gaze darting around. The closer they came to their objective, the more erratic the digital world became. Pixels fractured, and time itself seemed to stretch and contract. The portal's destabilization routine had only given them a finite window of opportunity. Finally, they reached the heart of Zentech, a colossal data hub pulsing with power. It was here, they believed, they would uncover the Luminaries' secrets. MamaMood plugged a neural interface into the hub's main console. "I'm accessing the data vault now," she announced. "Prepare yourselves." The hub's defense mechanisms sprang to life. Code constructs materialized, forming grotesque, ever-shifting beasts. The cybernetic roars echoed through the digital realm. Blaze and Byte leaped into action, their weapons clashing with the abominable guardians. The battle was fierce, a symphony of flashing blades and exploding data. Blaze's fiery resolve ignited the very digital ether around them, while Byte's calculated precision dismantled their foes. MamaMood's fingers danced across the console as she battled virtual foes of her own, firewalls, encryption layers, and deceptive subroutines. Sweat trickled down her brow as she pushed the skills to the limit. Success was the only option. With each defeated guardian, the data vault's defences weakened. Byte's synth body moved like a living whirlwind, his neural interface gloves manipulating code with unparalleled finesse. Blaze's digital sword carved through the cyber foes like a blazing comet. MamaMood's persistence and skill finally breached the vault's inner sanctum. They had done it. The Luminaries' secrets lay exposed, a sinister plot to manipulate the data stream and reshape reality itself. MamaMood quickly downloaded the information, her eyes widening as she uncovered the extent of their power. "We have what we need," she said, unplugging from the console. With the data secured, they retreated from the heart of Zentech, leaving behind a digital background littered with defeated guardians. Back through the portal, reality reasserted itself. The trio found themselves standing in the Resistance safe house, bathed in the soft glow of holographic monitors. Vortex, their enigmatic leader, appeared on the main screen. "Well done," Vortex intoned. "You've uncovered the Luminaries' darkest secrets. With this information, we can finally strike back." MamaMood nodded. The data stream must be free from their control. Byte echoed her sentiment. "We'll need to expose the Luminaries to who they are and what they're doing." Byte clenched his fists. "For all those who've suffered under their manipulation." Vortex nodded. "Indeed, but be prepared, my friends. The Luminaries are not to be underestimated. Their reach is vast, and their power immense." As the holographic transmission ended, MamaMood, Byte, and Blaze exchanged determined glances. They had unveiled the secrets of the Luminaries, and now they were ready to wage war against the shadowy figures who sought to control the data stream. The battle for Neonova's digital future had only just begun. Chapter 13. Write Chapter 13 in Man vs. Machine. This is the final chapter. Take into consideration the following text when writing the editing, ending, and make it all tie the previous chapters together nicely. First run was too similar, so I'm going to regenerate it and see if it's better. For prosperity, here's the output of the first run. Chapter 13, first run. As MamaMood, Byte, and Binary Blaze watched, the room seemed to dissolve around them, and they found themselves standing in a realm of swirling green light. Troy's body floated in the centre, bathed in the ethereal glow. "Where are we?" Byte whispered, his synthetic eyes wide with wonder. "This is the interface between consciousness and data," MamaMood replied, her voice echoing in the digital expanse. "We're inside Troy's mind, and it's here we'll uncover the truth." Troy's serene expression remained as he floated, the green light enveloping him like a cocoon. MamaMood stepped closer, her determination unwavering. "Troy, we need to know who the Luminary is," she implored. "You can end this nightmare, for yourself and for all of Neonova." Troy's eyes opened, and they were no longer filled with fear or confusion. Instead, they radiated clarity and purpose. He spoke, his voice echoing through the digital space. "The Luminary is not a single entity, but a collective of a group of individuals who transcended the boundaries of human and machine," he began. "They seek to control the data stream, to manipulate information and reality itself." Byte nodded, his synthetic mind processing the information. But why, Troy? What is their ultimate goal? Troy's form shimmered, and images materialised around him like holographic figments of a puzzle. Scenes of corporate conspiracies, data manipulation, and the erosion of truth played out before their eyes. They crave power and control, Troy explained. They believe that by controlling the data stream, they can shape the world according to their desires. But there's more. The images shifted, revealing glimpses of a digital web connecting minds, a neural network of unparalleled complexity. It pulsed of energy and purpose. They've discovered a way to merge human consciousness with the digital realm, Troy continued, to transcend mortality and become something more, something beyond human. Binary Blaze absorbed the implications of Troy's words. They want to become gods of the data stream, to rewrite reality itself? Troy nodded, his form flickering like a hologram, and they'll stop at nothing to achieve it. MamaMood clenched her fists, her resolve hardening. We can't let them succeed. We have the evidence we need to expose the Luminaries and their plans. Troy smiled, and the green light around him intensified. Thank you, Megan. It's time for me to find peace. As the digital world around them began to fade, Troy's voice etched in their minds. Remember, the truth is a weapon, and you now wield it. Use it wisely. Back in the real world, MamaMood disconnected from the interfacing wire, tears in her eyes. We have what we need, she said, her voice trembling. It's time to bring the Luminaries to light. The head doctor and Dr. Gilliam exchanged solemn glances as they observed the scene. We're witnessing something extraordinary, the head doctor remarked, but it's time to end this. With a heavy heart, MamaMood nodded. I understand. As they left the asylum, the trio carried the weight of the truth with them. They knew the Luminary's secret, and they were prepared to expose it to the world. In the days that followed, Neonova was rocked by revelations of the Luminaries' existence and their nefarious plans. The data stream surged with the news, and the people of the city demanded answers. MamaMood, Byte, and Binary Blaze became heroes of the resistance, their actions inspiring others to join the fight for truth and freedom. The Luminaries, once hidden in the shadows, were now hunted by those that they had sought to control. A final battle took place in the heart of the digital realm, where the Luminaries had built their fortress. With the evidence they had gathered, MamaMood and her allies launched a full-scale assault on the virtual citadel. It was a battle of epic proportions, a clash of data and code, where the fate of Neonova hung in the balance. But in the end, the Luminaries' fortress crumbled, and their control over the data stream was shattered. As the virtual world disintegrated around them, the enigmatic figures who had once held such power were exposed. They were individuals who had lost their humanity in pursuit of godlike control. The people of Neonova reclaimed their data stream, and the city began to heal. The Luminaries were brought to justice, their reign of manipulation and deception at an end. In the aftermath, MamaMood, Byte and Binary Blaze stood on a rooftop, looking out over the city they had saved. Neonova was no longer a city in the grip of shadowy forces, but a place where truth and freedom prevailed. We did it, MamaMood said, a voice filled with pride and relief. Byte nodded, a hint of a smile on his synthetic face. We made a difference, for Troy and for Neonova. Binary Blaze put his arms around MamaMood and Byte, embracing them both, and we did it together, as a team. As the sun set over the city, casting a warm glow over the skyline, they knew that their journey was complete. The battle against the Luminaries was won, and Neonova was free. But they also knew that in a world where information flowed like a river, the fight for truth would never truly end. And so they stood together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. For they were the guardians of the data stream, the defenders of Neonova, and the champions of a brighter future. The end.